This is Matador News, and these are the headlines.
An initiative for reducing air pollution.
The Pope is in Washington, D.C. today. Volkswagen CEO resigns after the emission scandal. And baseball legend Yogi Berra dies. Hello, and welcome to Matador News. I'm Nikki Herrera.
And I'm Mirna Duron.
Pope Francis has started his historic visit to the United States in Washington, D.C. He visited the first family at the White House and then spoke about climate change from the South Lawn.
Accepting the urgency, it seems clear to me also that climate change is a problem we can no longer be left to a future generation.
After his meeting with the president, the Pope rode down the streets of the Capitol and waved to the crowd. His car slowed down many times so he could bless babies. The Pope also met privately with President Obama in the Oval Office. They reportedly discussed the refugee crisis in Europe and poverty issues. He will speak to a joint session of Congress tomorrow.
Here's Matador News report Jamie Perez in the newsroom.
Thank you, Mirna. I talked to CSUN students about the Pope's comment on climate change, and I asked them what they thought about it. Here's what some of them said.
Global warming is an issue, and yes,
kind of address to the world, really, that this is happening now. This is a crucial thing, it has to be taken care of now.
With him, because the longer they put it off, the more of a problem it could become, and later on it would be a lot harder to prevent it.
President Obama even tweeted about the Pope's statement, saying his messages are inspiring. I'm Jamie Perez for Matador News. Back to you in the studio.
China's President Xi Jinping says he plans to build a level playing field for all companies doing business in China, and he says China will work with the U.S. to fight cybercrime. Xi focused on a win-win cooperation between the two countries. He says China doesn't seek confrontation with other nations and wants to facilitate the opening of a free, active, and dynamic space in the Asian Pacific. Officials are looking to strike down a deal with China on new mutual rules for cybersecurity to prevent the internet from being used as a battlefield. China remains the world's largest developing country with a GDP of just 1/7 that of the U.S.
As early as 2016, some driver's licenses will no longer be accepted as proper identification required to board a domestic flight. Homeland Security says driver's licenses in New York, Louisiana, Minnesota, and New Hampshire are non-compliant with the Real ID Act. Passengers in those states will need passports or permanent resident cards as early as 2016, unless those states change their driver's licenses.
The family of a dead Sherman Oaks teenager says the wrong suspects are in custody. The suspects are Jacob Hoffman's two best friends. Prosecutors say Hoffman was stabbed to death and another person was wounded when the suspects attempted to rob a man at an apartment complex. It has not been disclosed on who actually stabbed the victim. Family members of Hoffman are outraged the two teens have been charged with the murder. The preliminary hearing will continue to April.
CSUN President Diane Harrison says she hopes to increase full-time students' graduation rate by 60% in the next 10 years. According to CSU Division of Analytic Studies, CSUN's full-time freshmen since 2008 graduation rate was less than 50% in 2014. Vice President of the Undergraduate Studies Program, Dr. Elizabeth Adams, says it's difficult for students to graduate in 4 years.
I think part of it is the nature of our student body, right? A lot of our students work. Some of them have families. Some of them have to take semesters off to earn enough money. So there are lots of reasons that students may not be able to go straight through in 4 years.
Administrators say in order to graduate, students should take 15 units per semester. CSUN established an early start math program in 2012 to improve graduation rates, allowing students to take early math classes during the summer.
One thing we know is that if students get to 60 units, they're more likely to graduate. And so we've spent a lot of time focusing on freshmen. Now we want to start looking at sophomores and why it is that they don't come back. So we've been doing some surveying to see when students don't come back, why they don't come back. And we're trying to get more direct interventions as we're going along so that if we see a student struggling, we get to that student before they actually get on probation or disqualification.
CSUN also started a program that tracks students' achievements and sends graduation progress reports. CSUN was ranked 16th out of the 23 CSU campuses in graduation rates.
Matador News reporter Justin Porras is in the studio with Dr. Jamison Keller discussing the Hazing Prevention Week.
Hi, I'm here with CSUN Greek advisor Dr. Jamison Keller to talk about Hazing Prevention Week and the changes the CSUN Greek system has had in the last year. Can you explain what Hazing Prevention Week is and what events will be happening this week?
Sure. Hazing Prevention Week is actually a national campaign started by hazingprevention.org. It's a national website, and it's designed to bring awareness across the country, not just on colleges and universities, but for general society, high schools, middle schools, the NFL, for example, all that experience and deal with the crisis of hazing. For CSUN, we'll have a number of programs happening, including a speaker tonight in the USU Grand Salon. His name is Mike Dilbeck, and he talks about courageous leadership and being a hero and standing up to things that are really inappropriate and things that could lead to inappropriate behavior. We also have a video that's playing that were produced by our CSUN students, particularly in fraternities and sororities, educating the community about their values and that they do not haze and that they will stand up to that against it. So
Nice.
It's a pretty big week full of activities.
Nice. After recruitment was suspended for a year because of hazing incidents, what steps has CSUN Greek taken to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Well, we had a moratorium on recruitment to make sure that we took a break from our education and recruitment of new members so that we can, as a community, come together and come up with recommendations to our university president that would eradicate hazing from our community. So we had 17 students, staff, and alumni meet over the course of the last 17 weeks over spring, and we came up with 11 recommendations that were approved by the university, including much more education, the development of an active member education called Greek 102, as well as more funding and productions of programs for this Hazing Prevention Week.
Nice. Did you see numbers increase or decline this semester during recruitment?
Actually, our numbers have increased and in fact, we had a record-breaking recruitment, particularly for the sororities. And we have overall about 850 new members.
All right. Thank you for your time, and back to Mirna Duron in the studio.
President Obama is signing a declaration to release federal funding to help with the Valley fires north of San Francisco since September 12th. The fire is the fourth most destructive wildfire in California's history and has forced 12,000 people to evacuate their homes and caused at least 3 deaths. The fires broke out in Lake County and has burned more than 76,000 acres and almost 2,000 buildings. CAL FIRE says the fire is 79% contained as of last night. More than 3,000 firefighters are tackling the blaze, and 4 firefighters have been injured.
Still no details how Los Angeles City Council will get money for its state of emergency on homelessness. The City Council asked for $100 million to address the issue. The emergency was declared due to a shortage of affordable housing and lack of emergency shelter. Officials say LA has more than 25,000 homeless residents.
And now to Kiara Draper for the latest business.
Volkswagen CEO Martin Winterkorn resigns days after Environmental Protection Agency reported that millions of Volkswagens have software designed to cheat emission tests. Winterkorn says he is not aware of the misconduct and is shocked by the events that took place these past few days. The U.S. report ordered Volkswagen to fix 11 million vehicles and recall more than 480,000 cars. Volkswagen has lost more than $15 billion in market value this week alone. Winterkorn says he accepts the responsibilities for the issues that have been found with the cars and is resigning for the interests of the company. Groupon will lay off over 1,000 employees over the next year. The job cuts are part of the company's plan to consolidate technology systems and reduce non-profitable markets. The layoffs will affect Groupon's customer service as well as its deal factory teams that maintain relationships with merchants. Groupon says the restructuring will require a one-time charge of up to $35 million. Here is Abril Preciado with the latest sports news.
Yogi Berra, one of the greatest catchers in baseball history, has died at the age of 90. The legendary player died last night. Berra led the New York Yankees to win a record of 10 World Series championships. He also holds several World Series records, including the first hit-pitch home run in history. Berra made his first MLB debut for the Yankees in 1946. Berra was widely known for his humorous remarks. He is famous for saying, "It ain't over till it's over." He was a 15-time All-Star. Berra was born in St. Louis to Italian parents. He also fought during World War II. A Texas high school assistant coach has confessed he told 2 football players to tackle a referee during a game earlier this month. The San Antonio coach reportedly told the players to tackle the referee as revenge for reported racial slurs he made during the game. The coach told his story after a video of the incident went viral. The players have apologized and are scheduled to attend disciplinary hearings. The CSUN men's soccer team is preparing for conference play. The team has 3 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie with one more non-conference game left. Coach Terry Davila says the team started rough, but it's starting to grab its identity.
And conference is a juggernaut. There's a lot of great teams. You know, we're going to improve on everything from set piece defending to offensive set pieces. All of our whole game has to improve. Whole game has to improve. It's a whole nother level, mentality-wise, physically, mentally, technically, tactically. It's a whole nother level.
The team plays San Diego State on Saturday and starts conference play next week. Here's Kiara with all your entertainment news.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
The Happy Birthday song is free from copyright after a federal judge ruled yesterday that claims of ownership were invalid. The ruling followed a lawsuit challenging Warner Chappell Music's attempt to fine filmmakers for the use of the song. Good Morning to You Productions was asked to pay $1,500 to use the song in a documentary. The ruling says the only copyright Warner Chappell could legitimately claim was a piano arrangement. Warner Chappell will lose out on $2 million a year in reported revenue. Rapper Sean P. Diddy Combs is the world's highest paid star in hip-hop. Forbes says the 45-year-old beat out Jay-Z and Drake for the top spot. P. Diddy made an estimated $60 million from June 2014 to June 2015 from investments outside of music, including his TV network Revolt and Ciroc Vodka. Second place is rapper Jay-Z, who earned almost $56 million from business projects in music and lifestyle. Other rappers in the top 10 include Dr. Dre, Eminem, and the only female rapper on the list, Nicki Minaj. Sean Penn is suing Empire creator Lee Daniels for defamation. The $10 million lawsuit was filed yesterday in New York City Supreme Court. In a recent interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Daniels accused Penn of hitting women. Writer and director Daniels compared Penn to Empire actor Terrence Howard, who was admitted to physically abusing at least one woman. Penn has never been arrested or convicted for domestic violence. The complaint says Daniels' comments have caused anguish and emotional distress. Now back to Jamie in the newsroom.
A transgender woman says she was delayed by TSA workers at an Orlando airport after being interrogated about her gender. Shady Petoskey says she stepped into the scanner on the way to catch a flight. The scanner registered her as a woman. It detected a bulge in her pants that made security concerned. Petoskey had to explain that she is transgender. She was then asked to go back and was scanned as a man. She went through 2 pat-downs, full luggage search, and missed her flight. CSUN Pride Center coordinator Sarina Loeb says transgender people face issues like this all the time, and what happened to Petoskey was unfair.
The incident that happened in Orlando, I think, is horrible. That the trans woman was not just stopped, but discriminated against, made to feel belittled.
TSA says they're taking the situation very seriously and are investigating the incident. Back to you in the studio.
One of the largest ever surveys of sexual assault and sexual misconduct on college campuses has reignited the debate over how big the problem really is. The Association of American Universities surveyed more than 150,000 students at 27 campuses. The report says 23% of female college students say they experienced some form of unwanted sexual contact. The survey also says more than half of the women who say they experienced some form of forced penetration did not report it because they did not think it was serious enough. After a strong amount of backlash, Turning Pharmaceuticals has announced it's not going to go through with its original 5,000% increase for the drug Thoraprim.
The price hike announced on Monday was from $13 a pill to $750. Patients use diaprim to help their immune system fight HIV and other diseases. The company said it wanted to use the profits to improve the drug's formula and develop better drugs. That's all for Health Now. Back to Nikki.
That's all from us here at Matador News. I'm Nikki Herrera.
I'm Mirna Duron.
I'm Kiara Draper.
And I'm Abril Preciado. Have a great weekend.